all the years I've been with Norman, he's always had that spiritual side. And I think with him going through the addiction that he had years ago, I think he really threw himself into the addiction of God. So I wasn't really surprised. I was actually encouraged him to do so. Maybe I pushed him a little bit too fast, but now I'm so happy I did.
No, never, no. But I knew he was going to be some type of entertainer, because in first grade, the teacher would call me and say, she wasn't mean about it. She said, the only thing Norman would get his work done, and he would be entertaining the whole group. You know, so he was like, and people were laughing at him then. So I knew something about an entertainer, but never a preacher. I mean, it's just like a surprise to me. It is a surprise, and I'm glad it turned out this way, because I'm so blessed.
What ended up happening is it was sincere. And it turned out totally different than I was imagining that it was going to be the finished product. When he was sincere about his efforts, and what he really wanted to do was exactly what God was telling him to do.
The coolest thing was, one day for practice over there, I knocked at the front door and I opened the front door, and Norman had taken all the furniture out of the living room, the whole place, and he had his stage created with the lights and everything, the new stuff that he had gotten, and some signs up there and the lights on the side, and all of this, checking it out, trying it out before a service or before a concert and stuff like that. And I thought, oh my God, this guy's crazy, man, right in his living room. What's his wife, what's Terry gonna think, man, when she comes home and says, don't worry about Terry, you know? And I thought, that's my kind of guy, man.
I've known Norman for about 10 years, and maybe 15. I played with him in a band for about 8 of it, and one day we were at Lake Sumter Landing, and then he approached me and he said, Snizzle, I'm fixing to open me up a church. And I said, okay, cool.
I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. I was very surprised that he was starting a church, yeah.
And he came to me and he said, you know what, I think it's time. I think it's time just to begin a church. And we won't get paid. Are you in? And I said, of course. Because I'm insane.
We actually came over to look at a cafe shop, which is actually in this store now.
And it had been set up for a gambling place called, I think, the Golden Nugget. The Gold is what it was going to be.
I think it was Luella West, and I was walking down the breezeway here and said, wow, that would make a great church.
And we walked in, and he said he liked it. We couldn't see his vision or his dream. We couldn't imagine it being what it became, the church. But we looked at it, and he said, this is it. This has got the space. We can do something with this. And his first sermon was on following Jesus. And we didn't know if there would be very many people there, because we only had seating for 100 people. And we went out and bought the metal chairs at Walmart's. We were going to all the Walmarts that we could find, and we could only get 10 at a time. We had more people than we had seating for. They were in the old cafe. They were everywhere in the church. They were standing outside. We actually had to turn away about 40 people. There was no place for them, no parking.
He did an amazing job. We all did an amazing job. It wasn't just Norman, it was the worship team. It was just everyone pulled together, and I'm his biggest fan. So when we looked at land, we were listening to people, and they said, oh, you got to go to the villages, you got to go to Summerfield. And it was just so cost effective, we just couldn't see doing that. So when Scott Sumner came and presented this piece of property to us, Norman went out there and You know, it was a meth lab, it had tires, it was horrible. So when he took me and he told the vision, again, I'm the one that says, hold the brakes, we don't need to do this. But I saw that vision and I just couldn't say no.
We had to walk over things to get to the land, but he was so excited. He was just showing what he could see it. He had the vision. He could see this is going to be River Jordan, this is going to be Mount Calvary. He already knew where the crosses were going to go. And he just had this great vision. He could see it, but all we could see was this piece of land with the weeds grown up and lots of rubbish on them, things that had to be done.
We knew that it had been a lime rock pit, so his vision for this was perfect because the uneven ground and to be able to use the natural setting and surroundings for the theme is going to be perfect.
Norman, like I said, was always an entertainer. He was always outgoing, always a friendly person. But there's a difference now because God's anointing is flowing all over him.
You know, I thought that I had to become one real spiritual person and all that stuff, like the guys I would see when I go to the church and stuff. And I was thinking, man, I'm not there yet. I'm not that person. So it kind of held me back. But seeing Norman plow ahead regardless gives me that same, plow ahead, man. I am me. I can't change me. It's who I am and what I am and everything else. So, all right, God knows.
People are laughing. They're smiling. There's a big smile. And I always tell people when I go to North, not bragging, but people are so happy to come to church. You don't usually see that.
He has this way of pulling you into his crazy world of faith where anything's possible. And he encourages you to just walk out to the edge of the cliff and let God catch you. And we should all be more like that, I think.
God uses ordinary people to birth extraordinary vision. This man was chosen and given the task of bringing God's vision to fruition in the form of the Garden Worship Center. And incredibly, this is just the beginning. People are getting saved. People are renewing a faith that had been dormant for years. People are getting healed physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And lives are being changed.
I truly believe that's a vision that's going to come true. He has proven me wrong so many times. And now, like I said, I just go with the flow. I believe in God, I believe in Norman, and I believe it's going to happen. And he, my husband, is truly an amazing man, and he's truly loves what he does. And again, I'm just so happy for him.
I believe.